Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick preview of what to expect this coming week during Stage 1, Week 2 of the CDL season. Of course, this week I am not too sure how things will be looking going into Thursday and Friday's matches, just because, as you guys all know, there is a huge blizzard affecting most of Texas at the moment, so people are without power. And of course, most of the professional Call of Duty players have moved to Dallas because obviously we saw the Dallas Empire won champs because they were just, hosting everybody. I can't really say the normal term because, I like to keep these videos pretty tame and PG. But yeah, looking at that, I'm just going to get into my predictions for the schedule, of course. I provided the handicaps for the bets as well, so you guys can kind of track things a little bit easier as you're watching the videos, and to kind of cut down on, I guess, just the extra time that I usually spend kind of going over things and talking. And I figured it'd help you guys have a visual aid, so you can keep track of, where I think the bets should go, or where I'll be placing my money, let's say. So looking at Thursday, of course, we kick things off with the Florida Mutineers taking on the Los Angeles Guerrillas. I think after that loss to Toronto, the Florida Mutineers will be pretty hungry to get a win, so that's why I have them taking the series 3-1. And I think that the Guerrillas will most likely win the search. I mean, they are a pretty strong team. Respawn, I mean, they can hang, but they're not going to fry teams necessarily. So that's why I favor Florida. I think Florida sweeps the Respawns, possibly loses a search, and that's the series. 3-1, minus 1.5 handicap. Similarly for Optic Chicago, I think the same thing will hold in that matchup against the Toronto Ultra. Of course, this one, I would say handicap with a reservation, just because Toronto is such a good team. They did beat Florida. Florida is a good team, and there is potential for this to go to Game 5. So I would say 3-1 in favor of Optic Chicago is a fair bet, but don't necessarily put a lot into that, maybe 1 or 2 units, let's say. Moneyline Optic Chicago is a lock. Moneyline Florida Mutineers is a lock, in my opinion. I think both of these teams will be pretty hungry after their losses, of course, coming to Toronto in the case of the Florida Mutineers and FaZe in the case of Optic Chicago. That's why I have them winning 3-1. There's potential that they 3-0 Toronto, and they're just well-practiced going into search as well. But going up against Tier 1 teams, their search is just not strong enough yet. Looking ahead to Friday, of course, we have the Seattle Surge taking on the Minnesota Rocker. I think this is another minus 1.5 slip right here. The Minnesota Rocker, of course, beat the Dallas Empire in a Game 5. They have very strong search and destroy. But, however, I do see Seattle possibly taking a control. They look to be a pretty solid control team. And Gunless, of course, he changes settings, and 240 Hz Gunless is a different animal. So we'll see how that goes. I think the Seattle Surge definitely have potential to maybe win a match this weekend. Maybe. Depends on how well they all play together. I mean, they showed potential. They definitely got 10 CDL points last weekend, so anything can happen. As it stands, though, I think it's a minus 1.5 in favor of the Minnesota Rocker if you're going to take a handicap. And if you're just going to take a regular money line, I would say Minnesota Rocker in this match. Looking ahead to our next matchup, we have the New York Subliners take on the London Royal Ravens. Personally, I think this is a Subliners matchup all the way. I said 3-2 just because, Parasite has just gotten, worked into the team, and they're still figuring things out. But they played very well against Seattle this past weekend, and, it went to Game 5, right? So they had a pretty good chance to win the series, but they just couldn't pull it all out. And, I do like London. I think they're a good team. But the New York Subliners, they definitely showed me something last week. Diamond Khan was a stud. Of course, Clayster is Clayster. He's always going to show up when he needs to. And Mac Meltz is, he had a tough weekend, but who doesn't sometimes, right? So I think he'll rebound. And I think the New York Subliners take this matchup. Asim played well. Can't really fault him. I think Subliners take this matchup 3-2, possibly 3-1. Not too comfortable putting the handicap down on this matchup, just because both teams are so new, and neither one really has many reps in the league, so I'm not really sure what to expect from either one. But as it stands, I would say New York Subliners money line. Looking at our first matchup for Saturday, of course, we have the Dallas Empire, the reigning defending CDL champs, taking on the London Royal Ravens. Now, I think that this will be a 3-0 in favor of the Dallas Empire. You guys might be thinking, oh, why, Chris, why? They lost to the Minnesota Rocker. They're dog water. They're trash. Nah. I think the Dallas Empire and Rambo Ray, one of the smartest players in the history of competitive Call of Duty. are game planning. They're pretty pissed off after that loss, and they'll probably want to make a statement by 3-0ing the London Royal Ravens. Similarly, this is their only matchup of the week, so they are definitely going to be watching VOD. They're definitely going to be watching the match on Friday night, getting intel, seeing what London like to do, and studying. So that's why I have it as a 3-0 minus 2.5 handicap. Of course, in the next matchup, we have Optic Chicago taking on the Los Angeles Guerrillas. I see this as more of the same, another minus 1.5 for OG Chicago. I think they beat the Guerrillas pretty handedly. The Guerrillas, of course, have very, very high potential to take the search. As I said, Optic's search is not looking too good against Tier 1 teams. I'm not really sure how that'll carry over to a search and destroy-minded team like the LA Guerrillas, but we'll see how it pans out. I think this is definitely a lock at minus 1.5, and for sure a lock money line. So, looking at our next matchup, we have the Toronto Ultra taking on Atlanta FaZe. And Atlanta FaZe, they really showed me something in that matchup against Optic. Personally, you guys know I favored Optic to win it, but I did say that there is potential for either team to win, as in my power rankings, they were 2 and 3. Very, very close. Chicago was number 2 in my mind, but as I said, they had to beat FaZe to solidify it. So, as it stands, they're still number 3 in my power rankings that are still in the works as it stands, right? Week 1, you can't change up all the power rankings. You got to see how people perform week 2. If anybody changes up, anybody gets figured out, maybe teams got surprised, right? So we'll see how things go this week, and then I'll refine my power rankings in the next video, and I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking. But as it stands for this matchup, back on topic, I'm thinking minus 1.5 in favor of Atlanta FaZe. I don't think Toronto Ultra necessarily has the firepower to match FaZe. Looking ahead to our last day of the weekend, Sunday, we have the Paris Legion taking on the Florida Mutineers in our opening matchup. I see this as a 3-1 in favor of the Mutineers. I think it's a minus 1.5 lock. I think the Mutineers, much like the Dallas Empire, Chicago Optic, and all the other losers from last weekend, are going to be pretty pissed off. Some of these teams are highly touted, of course. Dallas Empire, in most people's power rankings, is a number 1 team. Chicago's a top 4 team in pretty much everybody's power rankings. And Florida is as well. They're a top 5 team unanimously. So I would say that those 3 teams are definitely 3 to watch out for, and I think they're minus 1.5 locks. I think they will have gotten back to work. Definitely been playing some S&D chows, I would imagine. Maybe not. Improving, their respawn where they can. And their coaches are all very smart. Like, Atura is a super smart coach. Sender, of course, super smart coach. Rambo Ray, super smart coach. I don't think they're going to be happy with their guys losing. And the players themselves don't like losing, so I think betting against them is a bad idea. Of course, our next matchup, we'll see the LA Thieves making their only appearance this weekend, of course taking on the Seattle Surge. They'll be farming some Surge points, we hope. No disrespect to the Surge, you guys know I love Octane. But yeah, the LA Thieves, they really showed me something in their last matchup. I mean, they finished the weekend with 20 CDL points, right? So can't take anything away from them. They beat New York 3-0. I mean, that was pretty impressive. New York looked really good. They didn't play bad. Mac, he had his struggles, like I said, but everybody does sometimes. So I think LA Thieves take that pretty handedly. But the Surge can put up a fight, so maybe they'll take a search or a control somewhere along the way. That's definitely one to watch out for. I think it'll be pretty good. Of course, our marquee matchup of Sunday evening, we'll see the Minnesota Rocker taking on the New York Subliners. I see this as a 3-1 for the Minnesota Rocker. I think beating the Dallas Empire was a huge barrier for them to cross, personally. They're a really strong team. You guys know I said in the beginning of the year, Minnesota was one of my dark horse teams. I think that this is a team that people are going to sleep on, right? But fundamentally in respawn, they're very sound. Major Maniac, Priesta, Attach, and Accuracy, of course, are 4 players who are severely underrated, in my opinion. They're great search players, all 4 of them, and they're great in respawn, just the same, all 4 of them. Attach, of course, is a monster. Same can be said for Priesta. When he's on, he's on. Major Maniac, same thing. And Accuracy is a lockdown AR when, he's performing at his highest level. So I think this is a 3-1 for the Rocker, minus 1.5 locks on the day for the Mutineers, Thieves, and Rocker. And as you guys can see, I have all of my bets on the screen as it stands. So money line goes to the people with the 3s, of course. I just realized all the 3s are on the right side, with the exception of the New York Subliners London Royal Ravens match. Kill a theory. Sorry guys, just a little joke. You know I love Kill a Sloss, the GOAT Sloss boss. But yeah, guys. So the weekend will be pretty interesting if things don't get canceled. I'm not sure how things will go with the weather being as it is right now, but hopefully we get to watch some COD this weekend. Um, I'm hoping that all the players stay safe. Obviously, their safety comes first. Don't want people playing in places that are, flooding and freezing and all types of just awfulness. So let's hope that the players are safe and that they're able to play this weekend. I know they want to play badly. I know we want to watch, but their safety, of course, comes first. And I will be updating you guys on everything in the next video coming sometime in the next few days, possibly next week. But yeah, I will also rework my power rankings after this weekend. I wanted to give it about 2 weeks to see which teams were really performing consistently and which teams were, having some struggles here, maybe no struggles at all, in the case of Atlanta FaZe and others, and LA Thieves, of course. So you guys are going to see a pretty different power ranking next week, and yeah, I look forward to bringing you guys that video. So yeah, that'll just about wrap it up for me, guys. I wanted to keep this one short and sweet, relatively. My videos are always a little bit longer. I like to go a little bit more in depth. But yeah, that'll do it for me, guys. Once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News, and I am signing off. I'll catch you on the next video. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night, wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. Peace.